Single does not mean alone. Single does not mean lonely. Single means just that, one, single. And you can't understand what it is to become joined and merged together with your spouse until you fully understand what it means single. That word single in the Bible, bro, it means to be set apart, to be called by God, to be assigned for the season that you're in. And I think oftentimes it's looked at with this stigma, both by married people and by singles, as just kind of a transitional period. God did not call you to wait. He called you to live.
Yes.
And when we understand the significance of being single and understand the significance of where our hope is anchored, it's a beautiful season of our life. And I think when we understand the seasons and are hyper aware of the seasons, it brings us to the understanding that we can't live in our past and we can't live in the hope of tomorrow. We have to live right here, right now. And in order to overcome the various challenges, I believe we have to schedule our victories, bro, because our defeats schedule themselves. And so, for those that are listening and leaning into this moment, I have something every single day on my calendar. It's a 2-minute celebration. And it's where I either grab my son or my wife, we take 2 minutes, we just dance and we celebrate something throughout that day. Because if you don't plan your victories, if you don't plan your celebrations, your defeats will plan themselves. And we've spent so much time focused on the defeats that we are overwhelmed instead of overcoming. And so, that's what this book really focuses on. It really makes us hyper aware of the current season and climate that we're in and how we can navigate through it with the help of God and really with some applicable tools that we can apply to our life on a daily basis.
Hey, real quick, when you're feeling your best, did you know you can actually take on the world and accomplish anything you want and anything you set your mind to? But sometimes life can get in the way and you may start to feel overwhelmed or like you're not showing up as the best version of yourself. That's where therapy can come in. By working with a licensed therapist, you can get closer to being the best version of yourself and feel more empowered to handle whatever life throws your way. If you're considering giving therapy a try, which I highly suggest, BetterHelp is a fantastic option. You see, it's convenient, it's flexible, it's affordable, it's gonna fit inside of your budget, and it's all done online, fam. Simply fill out a brief questionnaire to be matched with a licensed therapist, and here's the thing, you can switch your therapist at any time for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered and fulfilling life, therapy can help get you there. And right now, because you are my family, you can get 10% off your first month when you visit anthonyoneal.com/therapy. Again, that's anthonyoneal.com/therapy. You can get the link in today's show notes. But hey, take the first step towards a better you. Now, here's the second step. Let's get back to the show, because I know it's a good one. I'm curious when you say celebrate your victories, man. I mean, some people may call me arrogant, but I do this every day. I believe, yo, bro, we just got 2,000 new followers. Let's go. And some people, man, that's arrogant. You shouldn't be so excited about your victories and your success because it's all about you. And I'm like, no, because I'm often, every time I read a comment, someone's trying to tell me something negative about myself. The enemy is using that person to call out my flaws and to call out negativity. So I have to be my number one cheerleader. Like, how do you honestly feel when you, your wife, and your son is dancing, celebrating your victories? You're pastoring 2 mega churches, and it's like, I'm pretty sure you have people pulling on you all the time. How do you justify? Because some people are saying, well, I want to do that, but I would feel weird because I don't want people to think that I'm arrogant and I'm boastful. So how do you justify celebrating your success?
Yeah, I think people are going to talk about you whether you're successful or whether you're broke. I would rather people talk about me for the success that God has allowed for us to steward rather than the pain and the things that I don't have. This is also what I believe. God celebrates you. And so why can't you celebrate you?
That is so good.
If God knows your sin, but he still calls you by name, and the enemy knows your name, but he calls you by your sin, why do we take on the voice of the enemy as it concerns what we deal with and what other people may be celebrating. Instead of talking about other people's celebration, why not join it? I think it's absolutely incredible what God is doing through you and how God is using you. And every time you celebrate something, every time you post, this is what I want in the bank account. This is what I desire to do. This is for my future spouse.
Yes.
Man, I'm cheering.
Yes,
I'm rooting you on because I believe that when God opens a door for my brother or my sister and I can celebrate it, then the door that God is opening for me is right behind it. And so I think we spend so much time nitpicking at other people that we miss an opportunity to celebrate. And it's quite possible that your open door is activated by your ability to celebrate somebody else's. And so, instead of us really kind of going through this motion of, man, I can't believe he's doing that. I can't believe he would talk about that. Let's just take a moment and figure out why it bothers us. Could it be that we don't have it and that it's rubbed us the wrong way because it's actually something that we want? Or could it be that, we're insecure? Whatever the reason is, you have to get to the bottom of it, but it doesn't have to do with my celebration of what I feel God is doing in and through me. And so, I'm not concerned about people's perspective of me as long as God knows who I am, my wife knows who I am, my son knows who I am, my family knows who I am. Those closest to me know who I am. The people that really don't know me, their opinions really don't matter.
You know what? You just convicted me. My team is, no, I'm serious. My team is in here because it's like I've done celebration, right? Personally, internally. But we have a team meeting every Monday, and not one time have we really said, let's set aside 5 minutes just to celebrate wins, just to celebrate success, just to celebrate some of the things, because I think I'm so focused on serving and giving and impacting lives that we do not celebrate the time that we are impactful. Like, we didn't even celebrate the time, man. Last month, we not delivered, but we led over 200 people to Christ through this show.
Come on, man.
And we didn't take the time to really just celebrate that moment as a team because we was moving on to the next thing. Like, all right, cool. How do we address this problem? How do we address this issue? How do we fix this problem? When we should have been celebrating, hey, you know what? We just led 200 people to Christ. Like, these are people who now know Jesus because of a money show, because of a YouTube TTAL shows. Like, we should have celebrated that.
Crazy. Yeah.
We made more money last month we ever made in any month in the history of our company. We should have celebrated that, And I'm like,
absolutely.
Okay, I literally just put that on my notes. Add celebration to your Monday team meetings.
Absolutely, because it's honoring the God. I think one of the greatest risks that God could ever take on us is success. One of the greatest risks God could ever take on us in success. This is why. Because the areas that we're successful in typically are the areas we no longer invite him into. And so whenever I find myself successful in an area, I immediately have to thank God and I celebrate it. This is why. Anything that I receive as a blessing or an increase or an elevation that I don't celebrate and I don't thank God for will eventually turn into pride. It eventually brings me to the place, bro, where I believe that those things are just normal.
Yeah.
They happen. And I have to be intentional with saying, no, that's not normal. This isn't normal. What God is doing is incredible, and so I'm going to intentionally thank God. I'm going to intentionally celebrate it because it's something that I would not be able to do without his guidance, his help, his assistance. And so I value that, and it creates a great memory, not only for me, but for the people that are closest to me. And that's what's most important. Not the possessions, not the things, but creating a memory that will last beyond me so that when I'm gone, they have something to reflect off of.